Moving on to teams that we care about and that are fun to watch, the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Evan, is this the best offense in the league?
I feel like it, yeah. I mean, because at the end of the season, I think it dropped off a little bit, but it felt like the best. It really genuinely felt like the best offense in the league.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting.
11-win team, 6 losses. They were first in passing yards, 6th in rushing, 2nd in points scored, only behind the Cowboys.
It's the classic Madden fantasy. You get all the fastest players.
Chuck it.
You win.
Chuck it.
You have the fastest wide receiver. You had the
Put him on a go route.
I think 1 or 2 of the fastest running backs.
2, yeah. Very fast.
Just fast.
Jesus Christ, they're fast.
Just a whole team of Sonic the Hedgehog, some Lightning McQueens in there, and then Tua Tagovailoa just trying to not get his fucking Jello brains jiggled again.
Just lefty chucking it.
Just chucking it.
Notable
from
injuries.
2023.
Say it at the same time. They had some O-line injuries.
Okay.
Some O-line injuries. Devon Achane is a rookie, did hit IR at like week 4 or like week 3 to 7, 4 to 8, kind of early in his development, missed some time. But nothing major.
2024, is this team going to get better? Are they going to get worse? Are they going to stay the same? Because honestly, that's almost good enough. I mean, like, they didn't get the ending that they wanted to, but if they stayed the same at number 1 in offense, that ain't horrible.
Yeah. So, coaching staff, no major changes. Is it Mike McDonald?
He's got one of those names around there.
Any Mike,
keep talking.
Any Mike, Matt, Nick.
I know, and it's just
all runs together. He's a funny
Mike McDaniel.
Daniel.
Michael McDonald is the singer, so I like where your head's at, and also I would kill from some McDonald's right now. But Mike McDaniel, yeah.
Head coach, no disrespect, just
no disrespect.
Mike, Daniel, Donald, Mike, Matt. All kind of
another one of your classic. I'm not sure if he could do anything but coach, but I love him for it.
Sure. Yep. Head coach staying on. Frank Smith, offensive coordinator, not picked up to hire to be the head coach anywhere else, which is kind of what we would be worried about in a situation where the offense is so good. Things are staying the same. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio leaves to go to Philadelphia. Took everything in my power to not say Pittsburgh. Yeah. But he leaves to go to Philadelphia. If you're looking at fantasy defenses, we don't talk a lot about that here. Losing a great coordinator like that is how your defense becomes worse. Yes. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
But also it's defense. Nobody cares. Let's talk about the O-line.
O-line, a couple players leaving. Connor Williams, the center, tore his ACL. He is currently a free agent waiting to heal up a bit before signing, according to his agent. Robert Hunt, guard, left, signed in free agency by the Panthers to help revamp their line. They are bringing in Aaron Brewer from the Titans to play center. He's got a PFF grade of 71.6. Gotta be honest, I don't totally know what that means. When I read a number like that, I just think he's good enough to take over and not tank things. Mm-hmm. Second round, they drafted a tackle, Patrick Paul. ESPN doesn't have him slotted in to start on their depth chart. Yahoo News, recapping the draft, says that he'll back up their tackles. He's a second-round tackle. This draft was deep with tackles. Mm-hmm. Miami had decent tackles last year, so I think he's a depth guy. They had some injuries on the line. He could eventually start. I wouldn't be surprised if he got some playing time this year. Basically, the takeaway is the line's fine. They're losing some players. The number one offense can happen again. I'm not seeing any signs that it's going to be awful.
Yeah. So let's talk about Tua. First things first.
Yeah. This is not the Patriots room where we're wondering who's starting. It's just Tua. He finished last year as QB9. He had 16.7 points per game. That is on the lower end of starters in a 12-team league. But when everyone was healthy last year, he had a stretch where he was QB6. So the upside is there.
Yeah, especially when you have players like Tyreek Hill, where they give you so many yards after the catch too.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, 9. I guess with the injuries, that makes sense. Seeing him at 6, that is kind of where I would have guessed that he had fallen at. But so many injuries, just kind of on and off.
Yeah, he had a good start to the year. I know Waddle missed time, and that's going to hurt things. So the wide receiver room is not. It's great. It's a great top 2 duo. We'll talk about some guys as the third wide receiver, but it's not a massively deep room. So that's the concern with Tua. I don't know that people think of him as an elite quarterback, but for fantasy, if his receivers are healthy, if you chuck it to Tyreek and he runs it in for a touchdown, like, I don't need the guy to be elite. I need him to score points.
Yeah, fantasy points wise, where would you put him versus like Kyler? Brock Purdy is kind of a random one, but I think that Kyler Murray is always interesting because he can get you so many running yards.
Yeah, Kyler can get you the rushing yards. He's going to have a great wide receiver 1 option. I think they just signed a Zay Jones, who's a decent starter. He's not someone we're targeting for fantasy, but for that quarterback, I might put Kyler just a little bit ahead with the rushing. But I mean, when we're looking at guys like this is like QB 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have a list of guys here that we're looking at as they're all going to score similar amounts of points. And you really just, when you're drafting in a 10 or 12 team league, just grab the last one. So when we're looking at, like, I'm talking about like Kyler, CJ Stroud, Tua playing a full season, Anthony Richardson, Dak has been great recently, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jared Goff. These are all guys that can give you starting worthy points in a fantasy league that you just take the last one and feel fine. I think Tua is at the top end of that group because he has so much upside. And he's being ranked as quarterback 12. So if I left my draft getting Tua in round 9 or 10, like, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So let's jump into that running back room. Really explosive a lot of times last year.
We're looking at 2 guys here. Devon Achane, his second-year player, as you mentioned, very, 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 very fast. Last year, 4th in points per game. He missed some time. Being 4th in points per game had him at 16.1, and he's being ranked as running back 13. And I think people are just kind of scared of what this room is and the usage for him and Mostert. I'm not scared. Like, he's going after, so he's at 13. Rashad White of the Bucks at 12. Like, Rashad White catches a lot of passes, but he's not a great efficient runner. Isaiah Pacheco at 11. I would take Achane over both of those guys. I could see someone taking Achane over Josh Jacobs at 10 on the Packers, or Derrick Henry, Baltimore at 8. Once we get to Travis Etienne, that's where I start to stop moving him up.
So you would put him anywhere between 13 and 9, is what you're saying?
Pretty much. Like, 13 seems like there's some fear of Raheem Mostert taking too many carries, or they drafted a rookie.
How old is Raheem Mostert now?
Yeah, let's jump to Raheem. So he is 32. Last year, though, 3rd in points per game at 17 in half PPR. He's being ranked as running back 26. Okay. And that seems like the upside steal of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're not wrong. He's old, but if you look at his career rushing attempts, it is 670. That's like none a year.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about age at skill positions, they're getting tackled, especially at running backs. Like, you're running through a pile of huge men and then getting crushed. There's injuries, there's just breakdown, wear and tear of the body. They'll say tread coming off the tire, but 600 attempts over a career of that long is not many.
So you're thinking Mostert is a steal, maybe not like somebody you draft high. You're hoping to get him late and pretty cheap.
No, I think 26th, where he's being ranked, is great. Like, I would rather have him over 23 DeAndre Swift, 22 Zamir White, 21 is James Conner. Like,
Maybe even David Montgomery. I mean, I know Montgomery can run the ball well, but he's not always the guy they're going for with touchdowns too. And Montgomery's ranked 18.
yeah, Montgomery, I feel, is where we kind of know what he's going to be. Get to the red zone, he'll punch it in for 1 to 2 touchdowns. You know, if you get a 2-touchdown game from David Montgomery, that's great. But most weeks, it's realistic that he's getting you a touchdown. Raheem Mostert, I think some of the downside is he has had injury concerns over his career, and he's old. But I don't really project injuries based on past injuries too much. I feel like when you're doing that, you end up just missing out on guys like Christian McCaffrey last year, who was amazing, but had some injury concerns. Saquon Barkley was amazing last year, had some years of injuries. It doesn't, studies have shown like it's not actually as much as predictable as you think. So Raheem Mostert at 26th, that could easily be your third or fourth running back. Like, just grab him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other guys still on the team, we mentioned so they've got a 4th-round rookie, Jalen Wright, which rhymes with Braylon, the day 3 rookie on the Jets. Some people are scared that he's going to come in and immediately take over a lot of work and mess things up with the top 2 guys. But I'm not worried about it. I mean, that fear is already built into their current consensus rank, so I'm fine with taking them where they are. It's fine. I'm not scared of this guy. I'm not scared.
You'll be fine. You got 2 great running backs up top. It'd take a lot of injuries to get to him.
You're scared. I'm not scared.
No, I'm never scared. I'm never scared of speed. I'm always pro-speed.
That speed doesn't scare me.
That's
All
all
right, wide
I
receivers. It's more
Chase Claypool,
speed.
gone. Nobody cares. I'm ready to stop talking about Chase Claypool forever. I mean, he's been on too many teams. I'm putting him out of my brain for eternity. Nobody cared in the first place. Who do they have in that wide receiver room?
So we talked about potential wide receiver 3s, looking at Braxton Berrios or these 2 rookie Washingtons that were drafted. Malik Washington and Taj Washington, both day 3 guys, good fits for the offense, but they're both looking at being the 3rd option.
Yeah.
So we'll see them get on the field some, not a lot of drafting of them. Those 2 guys are Braxton Berrios is really just about boosting Tua and his value by being not suck.
Yes.
As the 3rd guy. Top 2 guys, you know them. It's Tyreek Hill. You'll love him. Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill was last year 1st in points per game. He's being drafted as the wide receiver 2. Like we just talked about with Breece Hall as running back 2. This is a case where I'm fine. If you want to take him as wide receiver 1, totally fine with it. I feel like the top group of wide receivers, it's all pretty interchangeable. Tyreek Hill's great. If you can't take him too high.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Waddle had some injuries last year. He was 24th in points per game. That will get, he's going to have, I don't know if he missed some time during one of those games he started. That could maybe move him up to 23rd in points per game. You're just splitting hairs here. He's being drafted as wide receiver 19, being ranked as wide receiver 19. I'm not excited by that rank, but I'm not scared. It feels fine.
Yeah.
Not a ton of there is some upside with Jalen Waddle. It's a lower percentage to me, but I'm just one person. He could be a top 12 guy. I think he has had stretches where he's up there. But
nobody you want to stretch to grab. That's what you're
exactly.
Tyreek Hill, you can go up to 1. You can make him your wide receiver 1, in the overall rankings of wide receivers in the league. That's easy. Jalen Waddle, if he falls to you, that feels great.
If I draft him as the 19th receiver, this is my face.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If someone else takes him ahead of me, this is my face. Okay. Yeah. That's just me. He's not thrilling to me, but I'm not really scared to have him on my team.
Yeah. So let's talk about tight ends.
They have Jonnu Smith, and this is not really a fantasy option for me. He has
Cool.
been a fantasy option in years past as a streamable guy. He could be a streamable guy on this offense. The Dolphins offense doesn't feature tight ends. They're
not fast
they
enough.
haven't well they haven't had great ones, and they don't make a point of using middling ones. So
Yeah.
in
All right,
bye
so,
weeks,
bye
in
weeks,
good
you would
matchups.
grab him maybe.
Yeah, in a good
That's
matchup.
fair. Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. All right, let's
Once
talk
we're-
about the big
yeah.
3 takeaways for this team here.
Draft Tua, draft the running backs. I don't think you can go wrong drafting them a spot or two ahead of their value if you need to reach to grab them. They both seem like hot. Tua and the running backs as 2 different points are great upside picks. And then I don't see value opportunities at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Tyreek is he's a top half of the first round pick. You don't really, I mean, in an auction, you're not really going to be sneaking out value in most auction drafts. Same thing with Jalen Waddle.